Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a Tech Moment on Cannabis Tech. I'm your host, Christina Etter. In this podcast, we take just a few minutes to talk about some of the exciting science and technology innovations that are happening in the cannabis and hemp industries. In a world ultimately dominated by men, there are two women in California who are forging a path of their own. With a joint mission to end these stigmas and improve community acceptance, Shelton and Hanna Brand, co-owners of Odour Brands, are taking the stench out of cannabis cultivation. Welcome to the show, Odour and Hanna.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Thank you for taking your time today. So in the early days of the cannabis industry, and outside some of these legal states, I know that there are people that are still kind of shocked that so many women are getting involved in the cannabis industry. And like you, lots of them are running companies, entrepreneurs in the cannabis industry. So let's start real quick by talking about your history a little bit and what brought you two together to form the company Odour Brands, and what does the cannabis industry do for you as women?
Sure. Well, Hanna and I also have two other partners, which is Hannah's dad and her brother. And originally her father and I started as I was his CFO for his previous business, which was Cut Flowers. And going down this path of cannabis becoming regulated and legalized, we decided to switch over to cannabis under the collective model. And his kids, Hannah and Johnny, were both going to be graduating from college, and he wanted something that the four of us could really create and develop. So Hannah and I luckily can be working together now and really just driving this incredible industry towards women and the importance of women and how there's no glass ceiling here for us in this industry and for executives and for us to grow. And it's such a natural product as it's a health and wellness product for us to really be able to inform and educate society from a very women's point of view.
Yeah, and for me, I grew up working in the flower greenhouses, working with my dad and my brother. So I actually went to college to study agriculture and horticulture specifically, even before we knew that it was going to become cannabis. And then a few years in, everything started to change and it got really exciting. And he decided that me and my brother were working hard enough that he would make us partners. And that's how it started.
That's fantastic. It's always very impressive to me to see how women have come to this industry and just kind of taken the reins and said, you know what, we're going to do this differently and really kind of make that change in cannabis to be more health and wellness oriented than maybe it was in the early days when things were first getting started. So now I remember living in Denver and driving along the north side of the city on I-70 or possibly on the south side down I-25, and there was this fabulous aroma in the air. And I know that not everyone thinks that that aroma is so fabulous. So talk to me a little bit about the solution that you have found for odor control in cannabis cultivation by partnering with Bayer Scientific.
Yes, we love the smell, but not everybody does. And that's completely understandable because it can be very overwhelming. And when we first started on the collective model, we actually started with a different system that was kind of more of a masking agent, Febreze type system. And we could really see that it was actually affecting our employees and perhaps even the neighbors at that time. And so our partner, Hans, really went out there and found the best system possible, which is the Bayer Scientific system. We had him bring a demo, and within a week, we knew it was a game changer. And so we instantly started telling everyone else in the area, this is what you need to get. We had it installed, and another 14 farms in town did the same. And this is a system that uses a waterless vapor system, and it deodorizes the terpenes rather than doing any type of masking. So it uses light terpenes to deodorize the terpenes of the plant. So it's a really natural and no health risk process.
That is super cool. And you said that all of the, or most of the other grows then in town kind of caught on to and went along with this system?
The ones that are trying to be compliant, yes. Unfortunately, there are still just as many, if not more, farms that don't have odor control, either that they're the black market or they're just trying to ride the system as long as they can. And so unfortunately, there still is a bit of an odor issue here in town, but it has been dramatically reduced since majority of, yes, the compliant growers have implemented the bioscientific system.
And I think that's kind of a common thing that we're seeing now in multiple areas of compliance, is that you have these companies that are very ethical and very compliant, and they want to do everything they can to follow the rules and make things more acceptable within their communities for the businesses that they have. And then you still have those others that are kind of doing their own thing and trying to skirt under the radar, I think. But eventually, I think a lot of this is going to kind of, especially as legalization kind of comes along nationally, I think we're going to see a lot of these compliance issues start to kind of fall away. Now, in addition to controlling odor, one of the things that I found really interesting about your company and your brand is that you are completely pesticide free. So do you want to talk a little bit about your pest management solution that you use?
Yeah, I can talk about that a bit. So a few years ago, we decided that we wanted to completely lean away from any pesticides, even organics, just because we believe that this is going into people's body and we want it to be as clean as it possibly can. So we use beneficial insects that we buy in to control all of our predator insects, which means we buy in certain bugs that eat or reproduce and kill off the bugs that are harming our plants. We have ladybugs in our greenhouses that actually come in naturally. We haven't had to buy any of them. We actually bought them once and those ones left and the ones that come in naturally stay. And the only way to have those in there is if you never spray. And they've actually spread over, we have an avocado orchard outside as well. And so our biocontrol is leaving part of our greenhouses when it can't find anything to eat and going and eating in our avocado orchards and coming back and that kind of thing. So it's really cool to watch the biodynamic systems of these bugs traveling through the greenhouse while these plants are traveling through as well.
That's incredible. How much fun that would be to be able to see the different changes. I mean, I'm a bird watcher, so I see the different changes in birds and seasons and things like that. So I can imagine that kind of seeing that rotation of bugs from one crop to the other has got to be a little fascinating. So the last thing that I want to talk about is stigma. Obviously, as women in the industry, stigma is kind of a big deal for us. I live in Colorado. I work in the industry. My social my social circles are all very accepting of cannabis. So I always kind of joke that I live in this happy little cannabis bubble. And I'm always shocked when I get outside my cannabis bubble and I realize that there are still people out there that are very judgmental towards cannabis consumption. Some of them even, almost hateful about the industry and the progress that it's made. So I'm curious from your perspective, how do we keep pushing stigma out of the industry and out of society, and how do we keep this moving forward so people start to understand that cannabis is not what it used to be?
Yeah, I think the first thing is always education, getting the facts out there that are true. There's a lot of people that like to make false statements and just preach them, and then you have to prove very difficultly sometimes that that's not actually true and educate the people on the benefits of it all. And there's ways to use these products that don't even get you high but can benefit your body so much.
People have just been scared of it for so long and ingrained that it's been wrong. I mean, I've gone to an event where someone said, I don't do drugs, but they got a cocktail right in front of them. So it's truly is education, and helping them understand that we have a cannabinoid system, or the endocannabinoid system in our body. Our bodies actually have receptors to these cannabinoids that are in the cannabis plant. Helping them understand the benefits, and that not all the products, like Hannah said, get you high, and that it can help so many different people with so many different types of ailments. And helping them, the myth busters, are so important. We constantly hear in town here, we definitely have a group of people that are very anti, and they'll say they're not anti, but that they're not against the plant, but really they are, because they don't fully understand all the benefits of it and understand what it's really going to do for the community, and how incredible it is to be part of a regulated market that is lab tested, that is very controlled, that everything is tracked from seed to sale. They really need to understand that we're not selling outside our greenhouse. There's a whole process that it has to go through a distributor to a retailer. And so we're not putting it into the hands of our children. So, really just continuing to get the word out there and how important this plant is to so many different people in so many different ways, whether it's recreationally for fun or medically for people that truly need it to get by, which, could be on a small level for any of us day to day. I have a 3.5-year-old, and so I constantly use the 1-to-1 THC CBD cannabis cream to combat shoulder pain or leg cramps or anything. So, it's an incredible time to be in this industry as women, where we can really have an opportunity to grow, and the sky's the limit here, and to help people understand this, just misconception of what this plant can do.
It's so funny to me, like you were talking about the creams and the lotions, and it really is about these types of new products and new ways to use cannabinoids with intent, is kind of what I call it. It's not this mindless trying to get disconnected from everything and lose your sense of responsibility. This is about using cannabinoids in a very direct, very intentional manner to help with a multitude of ailments or problems or issues that people might have. So you are absolutely right. Education is the number one thing that needs to happen, I think, in order for these stigmas to just kind of start to fall to the wayside. Before we go, I'm going to give you a chance to talk about Autumn Brands now. Tell us what exciting new news is coming out of Autumn Brands, and what do you have going on in your company?
Yeah, we have our vape line out now. So we took all of our trim, which is still 100% pesticide free, and turned it into an 80% vape cart. So that is in the market and people are loving it. So we're trying to get more people to know about it.
And we currently have a flower line. So we sell in a premium 1/8 glass jar. We also have a 7-pack pre-roll and a 1-gram pre-roll. And as Hannah mentioned, the new vape cart that's out. And, sales just continue to grow as people learn about who we are. We're 2 families that own and operate Autumn Brands every single day. And we are so proud of what we do here, being pesticide free and really owning our sustainable practices. Everything we do here is reused and recycled. All water is reused and recycled. All organic waste is reused and recycled. So as we are growing and getting the word out about cannabis, we're also doing the same for our company. And it's really exciting, the feedback we get from people that they really love our products. And that continues to grow every day.
And that it's helping so many people is the really heartwarming part, where you hear someone's story and it's just like, oh, I've been using this for months, and now I get to meet one of the owners, and then they tell you about how it's helped with different ailments or just their day-to-day, and it feels, I don't know, really good to put a positive product out there that people are enjoying.
Completely agreed. I think that the cannabis industry really does give women that opportunity to have a career, have something that they really enjoy doing, and yet still get that warm, fuzzy feeling that we get when we see other people benefiting from the work that we do. So cannabis industry really does have a whole lot of potential, and I can't thank you guys enough for your time today, for coming on the show, talking about your processes, and just kind of showing the world that, you know what, women can make it here in the cannabis industry and have a great brand and have great ideas to go along with it. So thank you very much for your time today, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.